Testing 1, 2, 3. So, Sister Violet, I've turned the YouTube on for you, so you can go there. Let's pray before we get started in today's study of the Word. Most High Yahweh, thank you in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai for this Shabbat, for all that you do for us every day in many, many different ways. We ask as we get together today to study your word on this, the day you created, to honor the power of your creative abilities and the things that you have made in planet Earth, including us. Please guide us by your spirit into the word, your word. Direct our paths that your name might be glorified as we discover more truth in your word. And direct us that we might be obedient to the truth by the power of your spirit of righteousness and holiness. And through our obedience, we would be giving you all the honor and the praise and the glory. In the name of the anointed one, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, we pray. Amen. Okay. Before we get started, as we normally do, we're going to read several scriptures that give honor to the Shabbat. And we will read scriptures that give honor to the covenant of the Most High, both Old Testament and New Testament, from one side of the Bible to the other. Before we go into our lesson today, our study, which is Deuteronomy chapter 18. So we start this morning with Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 2, excuse me. Genesis chapter 2. Genesis 2 from verses 1 to 3. Genesis chapter 2 from verses 1 to 3. Barashith. And the scriptures read, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made." That was Barashith, or Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 to 3. Now we turn to Exodus, or Shemath, Exodus chapter 19, verses 3 through 6. Exodus chapter 19, verses 3 through 6. And the scripture reads, "And Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Yasha'al, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Yasha'al." That was Exodus, Shemath, chapter 19, verses 3 through 6. We stay in Shemath and go to chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. The covenant itself in Shemath, chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. And the covenant reads, "Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. That was Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. We stay in Shema, Exodus. We turn to chapter 31, and we go from verses 12 to 18 of Exodus chapter 31. Exodus 31, 12 through 18. And the scriptures read, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Yashar'al, saying, Verily my Shabbats ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Shabbat therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore, the children of Yasha'al shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Yasha'al forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of Elohim. That was Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 through 18. Now we turn to the book of the law, Adabarim. These be the words, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. And the book of the law reads, And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, where the Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim hath scattered thee. If any of them be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law. And if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. Now we turn to Isaiah, otherwise known as Yeshaya. Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah chapter 58, verses 12 through 14. Isaiah 58, verses 12 through 14. And the prophecy of Yeshaya reads, And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Shabbat a delight, the holy of Yahweh honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh. And I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Yahweh have spoken. That was Isaiah chapter 58, verses 12 through 14. Now we turn to the renewed covenant, otherwise known as the new covenant, and we turn to the epistle called Acts of the Apostles. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, from which ye could not be justified by the law of Moses. Beware, therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder and perish. For I work a work in your day, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And when the Yahudim were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Shabbat. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yahudim and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Yahweh. And the next Shabbat day came almost the whole city together to hear the word. That was Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Now we turn to the epistle that was addressed to the Hebrews. The epistle addressed to the Hebrews, Hebrews chapter 8. Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. And the epistle reads, But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasha'al and with the house of Yahudah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasha'al after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. That was the epistle addressed to the Hebrews, Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. Now we turn to the revelation of the anointed Yahushua, Mashiach, the anointed one. The revelation of Yahushua. Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. And the prophecy reads, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahweh, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters." Verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushua. That is Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. We stay in the prophecy of Revelation for one more verse. Chapter 11 of the Revelation of Yahushua. Chapter 11, Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to 19, which represent the seventh trumpet. Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. And the prophecy reads, "And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Elohim and of his Messiah forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yahweh on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, We give thee thanks, O Yahweh al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail." It's Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. Last but not least, we return back to Yeshaya or Isaiah. Last but not least, we turn to Isaiah chapter 66, the last chapter, last division of the prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 66, from verses 22 to 24. Yeshaya chapter 66, from verses 22 to 24. And the prophecy reads, "For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. And they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh." Thus ends the morning's readings of the scriptures. Thank you, Sister Akath Josie, for posting those scriptures. We have been studying the book of the law, Deuteronomy. These be the words, Adabarim. We have studied 17 chapters of this very powerful, wonderful book, which the Most High gave to his people through Moses. Today we're looking at chapter 18, And as usual, we're going to find certain similarities as we study this book with the other 17 chapters that we have read. For example, the admonition to obey the commandments of the Most High Yah, the admonition from the Most High through the intermediary, his servant Moses, as the Most High speaks to us in these last days through the intermediary, his servant, the anointed one, Yahweh Shai. By his spirit, he speaks to us through the anointed one, Yahweh Shai. He spoke to them through Moses, who also was anointed by the Most High Yah, and encourages and commands us to keep his covenant, commands us not to worship other gods. And in chapter 18, he's going to be specific, as he has been, with regard to a specific situation in terms of these two areas. We're going to look at this, Deuteronomy chapter 18. Let's start in Deuteronomy chapter 18 from verse 1, and let's read from verse 1 down to verse 3 of Deuteronomy actually from verse 1 to verse 4 of Deuteronomy chapter 18. Notice what the word of the Most High said. The priests, the Lawayim, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Yashar'al. They shall eat the offerings of Yahweh made by fire and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he hath said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep. They shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the two cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of thy corn, and of thy wine, and of thy oil, and the first of the fleece of thy sheep shalt thou give him. Let's stop right here. Today, people take tithes of other people for the religion, mostly of Christianity, and they use the tithe to enrich themselves. They use what they're claiming to be the holy tithe to fleece the people of their money. They're using what they claim is the word of the Most High to not only fleece the people of their money, but to control and dominate their minds. It is insidious. It is evil. This is not what the Most High intended. And as we have studied the tithe in earlier chapters of the book of Deuteronomy, we have studied the tithe and what the tithe actually means and who is actually for. Let me test you. Let me test you, because y'all have been here as we studied these things. Let me ask you, who is the tithe designed for from the Most High Yah? Who did he design the tithes for? Who did he design the tithes for? Who did he design it for, brethren and sisters? The poor, the fatherless, and the widow, and the Levites, the Lawayim. Okay? He designed it for that. And the Levites, he separated them from the rest of the children of Israel. First off, let's make sure we have this understanding. These so-called pastors, these so-called ministers, these so-called teachers of Christianity are worshiping another God. They do not worship the same one that we're looking at here in Deuteronomy, because they are not Levites, yet they are taking the place of priests. These Catholic so-called priests, they are not worshiping the same Most High that we are worshiping here. Because if they were, they would not be called Catholic priests or reverend or pastors, and they wouldn't be taking money from people if they were. Because the same one that tells us to obey his commandments, statutes, and judgments, he would tell them to do the same thing. But they worship a different one that gives honor to a dead woman, who they call Mary. a goddess, one that gives honor to institutions and churches. It's a different God, brothers and sisters. That's why we don't argue with people about religion, especially Christians and Muslims and Judaizers, because they worship different gods than us. We cannot talk to them on the same level because there's a different God involved. You understand? But here, the Most High is telling us he has separated out the Lawayim, the tribe of Levi or Levi. Levi being the third son of Yaakov or Jacob. He is his third son. Reuben was first, Shimon was second, then there was Levi, and then Judah. And he separated out Levi, from whom came Moses and Aaron. And Aaron's sons and Moses' sons from that tribe. He separated them out to be his ministers. He said he was their inheritance. By that, check this out. By that, it means that they are appointed to be anointed. And I'm not trying to be a rapper here. I'm just saying they are appointed to be anointed. That his spirit is their inheritance. And that the food they were going to eat was going to be provided for them from the other 11 tribes. It was food they were going to get. Provided for him. Now, also, they did get some land. Don't think they had no land. The Lawayim, the Levites, they did receive land. It's just not as much as the rest of the children of Israel. They would get land appointed in each of the tribes by certain cities. They would get certain pieces of land, not like the rest of the children of Israel. They would have some land, but their food was provided for them from the other 11 tribes. Their food was provided for them. And the first fruit of all the food that came forth was supposed to be for the priest. The priest's job, his whole being was supposed to be the service of Yah. The service of Yah, to teach the people the word of Yah, to reveal the people the spirit of Yah, the mind of Yah through his spirit of righteousness. That was their whole thing. They were set apart for that. Now, today, there are no Levitical priesthood. Why? Why are there no? Because we've been taken off the land and scattered throughout the earth. The sons of Levi are scattered throughout the nations. Anymore the way they were in the land. They're not there. So what did the Most High do? By the power of his spirit, he raised up teachers and preachers and prophets and evangelists, not in Christianity, by his spirit to teach his word. You don't see a lot of them out here because there's not a lot of them out here. There's a famine in the land. For hearing the word of the Most High, there's a famine in the land. There is deceit all over. People are being deceived. To the point now, brothers and sisters, the deceit is such, and this is one of the reasons, one of the main reasons we know time as it stands on this earth will not last much longer. It's not going to last much longer. But as we know, it's gotten to the point where things that are wrong are considered right, and things that are right are considered wrong. You see a man wearing women's clothing and people will cheer. You see a man stand up against it and they will jeer. That's where we are in the world in which we live, where things that were wrong are now right and things that were right are now wrong. That's where we are. That's where we are. Okay? That's where we are. And there's many, many, many things along those lines. Okay? Many things. You stand up and you say, I am not a worshiper or a follower or a believer in Christmas. I don't believe in Christmas. And people will frown at you. Christmas is a pagan holiday, a holiday set aside for the worship of a pagan god that has nothing to do with the Most High Yah. Nothing. But if you say that, and no matter how you say it, no matter if you can be as polite, and you should be as polite and enjoy your holiday, sir. Enjoy your holiday, ma'am. No, I'm not a believer in Christmas. I don't do Christmas. You can say that all you want. And unless you're a Muslim, now, if they hear you're a Muslim, sometimes they'll let you go. Oh, you're a Muslim. Okay, that's cool. But if you're not, they said, you're not a Muslim? What? You don't believe in Santa Claus? You don't believe in the baby Jesus? You don't believe in the baby white Jesus? You're not a believer? And we don't worship the same God. People that do that are worshiping another God. And look, that's their business. We're in Babylon. They worship all kind of gods in Babylon. That's their business. That's not our business. But that's wrong in their sight. And they are right in their sight. And there's many such things like that all through society. Many, many thousands of things. I could keep going all day on that. But it's gotten to the point where what is wrong is now right, and what is right is now wrong. So that if you are following the scriptures and you're following the scriptures alone, you don't trust in books by this author or books by that author or inspired books or so-called top 10 bestsellers or Christian books or whatever books there are be. You don't trust in that. You trust in one volume, the Bible alone, and you're going to follow that volume, and you're going to follow the Spirit of the Most High, and you're going to pray to Him alone. Man, you're looked at as crazy. Crazy. Fanatical. Perverted. All of those words and more will be used if you follow the Bible alone. There's no Levitical priesthood today. We're not in the land. We're scattered as the Bible said we should. We're scattered all over the earth because of the sins of our fathers. We're scattered all over the earth. We're in Babylon. So there's no Levitical priesthood to be given this stuff to. So who do we give it to? Well, the Bible showed us, didn't it? It showed us, okay, you don't got the Levite. Okay. You still got the poor, the fatherless, and the widow, especially if you're a Hebrew. You got them. You got them. And it's not money, it's food. It's food. Provide them the food they need. Provide them the food they need. You got extra food, give somebody some food. And I'm not saying you shouldn't give them no money, but if their electricity getting ready to be turned off, been there many times myself. If the electricity getting ready to be turned off, and you could pay it for them, pay it. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Don't be writing checks to some woman or some man claiming to be a preacher of the Lord in some Christian church. Not if you one of us. Not if you an Israelite. Don't be writing checks to them. You wasting the Most High's money. You wasting it. You wasting it. Pay that electric bill for them. Gas get ready to get cut off. Whatever. Need some clothes. Need some shoes. Need some gas for the car. Need a tire. I see that. I've been there and seen that. You see somebody so poor, they got a donut. You know, the donut, they used to give you a tire, a full-size tire. If you're old enough to remember, when you got a car, you had a full-size spare tire in the trunk, right? But now, you know, for the last 20, 30 years probably, they don't give you no full size. They give you this little thing called a donut. And so when you get a flat tire, you know, you see people riding around on a donut because they can't even afford to replace the tire. They're trying to work now, and they can't even afford to replace the tire. If you can buy them a tire, get them the tire. You're going to need to get them two because you can't just replace one. You got to replace two. If you know anything about tires, you know what I'm talking about. You got to replace two. You can give them the tires, give them the tires. Stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? That's what this thing is about. But those people that are set aside to serve the Most High, see, that's where we're coming into 144,000 territory. That's where we're coming right. We're coming to, see, they don't exist right now. I mean, 144,000 are out here, don't get me wrong, but they're being trained. You see, in our day and age, all of these so-called ministers out here that are full-time, what they doing full-time? What they doing full-time is working on commission. Wait a minute. Let me say that again. What they doing full-time, these ministers out here, they're working on commission. You say, what you mean, brother? Because they selling stuff. What they selling? They selling you religion. That's what they selling you. They selling you religion. That's what they doing. See, it's just like a car salesman. I used to be on commission. I worked on commission for many years, many years. I sold investment products. And your object is to get your client, your customer, to reach in his pocket and purchase something that he had not planned on purchasing before he met you. Believe me, I've been there. I know. I know from what I'm talking about. And these pastors and reverends are selling. That's all they're doing, selling. And then trying to sell. Let me tell you something. Let me bring it down for you. Let me break it down, man, because I'm telling you the truth out here. I have to. I'm not looking for no man's money. I'm not asking you to reach in your pocket and send me jack. You understand? Y'all know that. So I'm not trying to gain nothing from you. I don't have no building. I'm trying to get you to pack in so I can get money. No. Not trying to do that. I'm telling you the truth. I'm trying to represent the Father today. That's it. Give the anointed one honor and glory for God. That's it. You hear? So listen here. When I was in sales, and I was good at sales. Anybody that would know me from that time will tell you I was good at sales. And you know why I was good at sales? Because I studied. I went to classes. I went to seminars on how to sell. And you know what they taught me at those classes and seminars and books that I used to read about sales? You know what it all boiled down to? Listen carefully, brothers and sisters. Listen very carefully. Because what I'm about to tell you is happening in every church. It's happening when you watch TV. It's happening when you listen to politicians. It's happening all the time to you. It's happening all the time. And it's happening in corporations. I just went to a meeting with the company I work for, and they tried to do it. What they're teaching in the sales thing is mind control. It's mind control. That's what they're teaching. Everything from the tone of your voice, from how you look, from how you stand, from how you touch the person. There's many different ways they're teaching you to control the mind of the individual you're talking to. And you can do it on an individual level. You can do it on a mass level. Believe me, I'm telling you the truth. It's mind control. Okay? And let me break it down a little further. Now, I was doing it to try to get money. You know what I'm saying? I was doing it to get money. But as the Most High was working in my carnal mind, as he was working in my hard heart, as he was trying to talk to me, he was showing me what all that was really about. And what I didn't realize, and what the people that are doing this a lot of times don't realize, and some of them realize it too late, is you are taking in a spirit. You are taking in a spirit. And that spirit that you're taking in is helping you to control the person that's listening to you. Listen to me now. I'm telling you the truth. I want to tell you, it took 5 full years. The Most High had to take me away from all my family, my friends, my familiars, and put me on 173 acres in the wilderness of New Hampshire, for 5 years. No TV, no radio, 5 years to get that stuff out my system. That's what it took. Because once I realized what I was doing, I wanted to stop. Listen to me carefully. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't stop. I kept doing it. It was like addictive. It was like second nature. Because it wasn't just me, it was a spirit. And these pastors and preachers out here, they're doing it every week. They're doing it to people every week. You can do it, like I said, you could do it on an individual level, you could do it on a mass level. And brothers and sisters, I see it, I can see it, I can recognize it because I did it. There's all kinds of techniques. You don't even want to know. Believe me, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's like if you would have asked me, brother, can you show me some of the techniques? It's like me trying to show you witchcraft. It's like me trying to reach back and show you how to handle a Ouija board. I don't even want to go there. You understand? You don't even want to go there. You understand? You don't want to go there. Don't learn how counterfeit bills are printed. Just know what the true one looks like. You hear what I'm saying? Don't need to learn how counterfeit bills are printed. You just need to know what the true one looks like. That's all. And you'll be fine. But these pastors and preachers out here are fleecing the people. They are fleecing the people. and they are mind controlling the people. Okay, they're doing it in the religious realm mostly. Like you see it in entertainment, you can see it on all of the news stations. And I'll take two stark examples. You got Fox News and you got MSNBC. And both sides, listen to me now, they're both brainwashing. Both of them. One is doing it from what they call the right, a conservative, and the other one from the left, the liberal. You look on Fox News, you will see them continually. Every time they want to bring forth an agenda, they make you think, you know, they are Christian, conservative, right wing, right? And you look at NBC, MSNBC. When you see a black man on MSNBC, he's usually gay. Why is that? Because they want you to think that the professional black men in America have to be gay. That's what they're doing to you, man. Brainwashing. Straight up. Straight up. And the politicians and the mediums, you know, on television and through the television shows and the sitcoms, they're teaching you and programming your mind. That's why it's called a program. But the religious one is the strongest of all. It is. It's the strongest of all. That's why you got 2 billion people on earth that are Muslim. That's why you got 1 billion people on earth that are Roman Catholic. That's why you got hundreds of millions of people that call to be Christians and all this and are very fervent in their following of falsehood. Don't even know what day the Shabbat is. And when they do, like you got the Seventh-day Adventist church, when they know what day the Shabbat is, but when you go in their church, they're going to push in your face a woman. What woman? Their goddess, Ellen White. They're going to put that in your face. And you better listen to her now. That's you don't listen to the prophet, you're not listening to the counsel now. Believe me, I've been there. Telling you the truth. You walk in the Mormon church, it's Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. They all cults, man. Only safety is in the word of the Most High. You're being fleeced. See? So the Levitical priesthood was set aside by the Most High to be his servants. What you're talking about now in today's society, 144,000. 144,000 being prepared and groomed to trust in the Most High alone, to trust in his word alone. It's a literal number of men. And yes, there will be Israelites, but not the European Caucasus Mountain Ashkenazis that people consider Jew. No, it's not going to be among them. They are not them. They have been being imposters for many hundreds of years. Imposters. Synagogue of Satan. No, it's not them. You don't be controlling media empires and record empires and you don't be controlling governments and politics and law. You don't be controlling all that and say you the chosen. Not in Babylon. Come on now. His true people have been scattered because of their rejection of Messiah. You don't get blessed because of rejecting Messiah. Huh? People need to wake up, but that's all right. People ain't going to wake up until 144,000 come forth with the power of the Spirit of the Most High. They will be dependent on the Most High alone. Because why? Because they're going to lose their job. See, I'm working. I want to be among the 144,000. I plan to be. I hope you do too. Really. It's a literal number. Not many people even care. That's the truth about it. How many Christian people are you talking about that care to be among the 144? How many? Ain't none. Ain't none. That's why it's a literal number. But I want to be among them. I got a job. I'm working. Praise the Most High. Yeah, I'm working. I'm out here in Babylon working. But I know I could tell you from right now, they're going to take my job. I can tell you. It's not, I'm telling you. They're going to take my job. I'm going to lose the little place I got. I'm going to lose my car. I'm going to lose everything. No thing to me. No thing. Been there. Been there. But it's going to happen at the end for all the 144,000. They're going to lose all this stuff. It's going to be taken from them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No accident. But it's okay. Because as he sustained the Levitical priesthood, the Lawayim, he's going to sustain them. They're going to bring forth a message in the last day. They're not going to be begging people for money. Please send money to help this ministry. This ministry would not exist without your faithful support. No, come on now. They're not going to be fleecing people like that. It's going to be just like the days of the apostles. You never saw Peter Kaffa. That's his real name, Shimon Kaffa. You never seen Shimon Kaffa or Yaakov or any of the apostles stand up and beg for money from somebody. You never seen that. What did you see? You saw people selling stuff and bringing it to them and laying it at their feet. Well, who told them to do that? The Spirit of the Most High Yah told them to do that. It wasn't about no 501c3, no tax write-off in Babylon. No, it was time to do it. And the Spirit told people to do it, and they did what they had to do. The same thing in 144,000. You're going to see it. Because them Federal Reserve notes ain't going to be worth nothing soon. And while they are worth something, people are going to be giving it to them 144,000, and they're not going to be stacking it in somebody's bank. It's going to be used just like it was in the days of the apostles. He that have need, he that needs this, he that needs that. It's going to be spread out, and people are going to go forward, and it's going to be organized. You ain't got to worry about how, you see, when you mention the word organized, all the sons of Yafet come out because they think they got to do the organizing, but it ain't so. Spirit of the Most High is the best organizer. Had the 12 tribes organized by tribes so that when Balaam looked out over them, they was perfect order. Oh, yeah. No, you're going to see 144,000 bring forth a message of warning to this earth. That's the last final warning message, man. We're in the generation. Check it, man. We're in the generation where people with their own eyes are going to see Messiah and Father come in the sky, man. We're in that generation. Imagine that. That's where we live. This is unlike any generation in the history of planet Earth, ever. The only generation like it, the only one like it is the one that's why Messiah told the apostles, you are he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than John the Baptist. What was he trying to say? Because John the Baptist lost his head standing for the truth, right? But the apostles were there with Messiah for 3.5 years. They walked with the anointed one, man. Those are the only people that had what we get ready to get. And Moses himself, when the anointing was on him, of course, but we are going to be able to see with our own eyes the return of the anointed one and our Father Yah. Oh, yes. We're going to see with our own eyes. We're in that generation. We are that people. That's where we are. That's what I'm saying. It's coming close, man. It's coming close. And I'm feeling it, and I'm seeing it in the scriptures, and I'm seeing it out here on the landscape. And I'm not the only one. I'm not the only 2 or 3. There's lots of people, but we scattered seeing it. We scatter and we see it. We know it's coming. Okay, we know it. Ain't that many more years left. Like I said, I don't think we got 14 more left. I don't think so. That's a little over a decade. And I don't even think we got that left. I'm just telling you. I don't think so. It's coming close, man. It's coming very close. Let's continue. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. From 5 to 8. Deuteronomy chapter 18, from verse 5 to 8. For Yahweh, thy Elohim, hath chosen him, that is the Lawayim, out of all thy tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons forever. For if a Lawayim come from any of thy gates out of all Yashar'al where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which Yahweh shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh his Elohim, as all his brethren the Lawayim do, which stand before Yahweh, and they shall have like portions to eat, beside that which cometh of the sale of his patrimony. Okay, showing you the Lawayim. Now, the 144,000 the Bible tells us are made up of 12 tribes. They're made up of 12 tribes. Now, including the tribe of Levi. They're made up of 12 tribes. The Bible actually shows us the tribes. Now, it's not all the tribes, because you're missing Dan. You're missing Dan. Okay, you're missing Dan. And instead of Dan, what you have is Joseph. Because see, in the 12 tribes that you're going to see on the gates of the city, the 12 tribes you're going to see on the gates of the city are listed in Ezekiel chapter 48. Okay, and you'll see those are the 12 sons of Jacob that are listed. The 12 sons of Jacob are listed. Okay, he had 12 sons, and they're listed. Now, including Dan. Dan is there. In fact, let's look at it. Ezekiel chapter 48. Let's look at Ezekiel 48, because basically Ezekiel 48 and Revelation 21 are identical. They are bookends, because Ezekiel 48 and Revelation 21 are describing the same situation. Okay, they are, but one is from Ezekiel and one is many, many centuries later in Revelation. So let's look at this in Ezekiel, and that's why it's called prophecy. Notice Ezekiel chapter 48. Ezekiel chapter 48. And I want to show you Ezekiel 48 from verse 29 to verse 35. I love this. From verse 29 to verse 35 of Ezekiel chapter 48. We'll come right back to Deuteronomy. I want to show you this. This is the land which ye shall divide by lot unto the tribes of Yasha'al for inheritance. And these are their portions, saith the Most High Yahweh. And these are the goings out of the city on the north side, 4,500 measures. Now I want you to notice, if you were to read chapter 21 of Revelation, it also measures the city. Okay? And the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Yasha'al. 3 gates northward, 1 gate Reuben, 1 gate of Yawadah, 1 gate Levi. Okay? And at the east side, 4,503 gates. 1 gate Joseph, 1 gate Benjamin or Benjamin, and 1 gate Dan. There's Dan. And on the south side, 4,500 measures and 3 gates. 1 gate of Shimon, 1 gate of Yashakar, 1 gate of Zabawalan. Okay? And on the west side, 4,500, and there are 3 gates. 1 gate of Gad, 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali. These are the original 12 sons of the nation of Israel. Now you say, well, what about Ephraim and Manasseh, who became 2 tribes? Well, who was the father of Ephraim and Manasseh? Do y'all know who are Ephraim and Manasseh's daddy? Who's their daddy? Who is their daddy? Ephraim and Manasseh. Who is he, and where did he have them? Do you know? Can you tell me? That's right. Joseph is their daddy, and he had them with an Egyptian woman, for anybody that wants to claim they're not people of color. He had them with a woman from Mizraim, of the people of Ham. That is Ephraim and Manasseh. And he wasn't Caucasian himself. There you go. 2 tribes. And that's why, because Joseph got the double blessing. Okay, so Manasseh and Ephraim represent Joseph. Well, now you got 13. Well, then that's why he said Levi didn't have an inheritance among the people. You understand? You got me now? So they took out Levi, and Joseph is represented by his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. So on the gates, you're still going to have the original 12, but the 144,000 are not made of the original 12. I want to show you that. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. You're going to notice they're missing Dan and they're missing the name Ephraim, because Ephraim is in Joseph, but they have a separate one for Manasseh. Notice Revelation chapter 7. I'm going to read Revelation chapter 7 from verse 3 down to verse 8. Revelation chapter 7 from verse 3 to verse 8. Notice what it says, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Yasha'al. And the word children there is the word literally sons, of the sons of Yasha'al. Of the tribe of Yahawadah were sealed 12,000. There's Judah. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. There's 3. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh, there's one of Joseph's sons. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Shimon, that's the second born, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi, there is Levi, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Yeshachar, there's 12,000. Of the tribe of Zabulon was sealed 12,000. And there's Joseph. Of the tribe of Joseph, which is Ephraim, tribe of Joseph, 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000. You're missing Dan. You're missing Dan. That's who you're missing here. Why are we missing Dan? I don't know. Something happened to Dan. Maybe I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. I don't know what happened to Dan. Okay, I don't want to speculate what I don't know. Let's put it that way. I'm not even going to be tempted that way. But let me just tell you, they're not there. They're on the gates now, so they're going to be Dan people coming in, you know, Samson and them coming in, but they're not in the last days of the 144,000. No Dan. No Dan is there. Okay, no Dan. But these are your end time priests. These are your end time prophets. These are your end time people that are bringing forth the end time message that's going to be dependent on the Most High alone, as the Levitical priesthood was dependent on the Most High alone. Are you following me so far? Testing 1, 2, 3. And they're going to go from place to place. They're going to go from place to place preaching a warning message. And everybody that hears them, I mean everybody, of every nation, kindred, tongue, and people are going to hear that message, and every single person is going to be convicted of what they're saying. But very few are going to move on the conviction in a positive way. Most are going to mock, they're going to shun, they're going to attack. That's what's going to come. Very few are going to move and receive the conviction in a positive way. And for many reasons. Number one, of course, they're going to be concerned with how others think, because they love the praise of men more than the praise of Yahweh. Number two, because at that time, there's going to be a lot at stake. Because if you were to take a stand for the truth, see, right now, you can take a stand for the truth and you might suffer ridicule. You might even suffer some economic hardships. You might. But then you're going to suffer definite economic hardships, definite ridicule, definite hostility, and maybe it might even cost you your life. It's going to be a lot. The stakes are going to be much higher at that time. Stakes are going to be much higher. Okay, much higher. And so that's why you're going to have very few people that receive the message of the 144,000 in terms of the Earth's population. I'm not saying there's going to be a lot of people, but in terms of the Earth population. So like if I was to say to you, 1 million people received, you say, wow, that's a lot of people, 1 million people. Well, if you take 1 million people, if you take 1 million people, right? If it was, and right now there are 7 billion people on planet Earth. Okay, 7 billion people on planet Earth. That's one, if you take 1 million, that's one for every 7,000 people. That's one person for every 7,000. You see what kind of odds we're talking about? One out of every, that's if there were 1 million. That's one out of every 7,000 people. That's a very small amount of people. Okay, it's not that many. Not that many, especially when you spread out all over the earth. You go to places like the Philippines, or you go to the continent of Africa, or you go, into what they so-called Middle East, or to India and to Asia. There's billions and billions of people in these places, and you're talking about one out of every 7,000. Very few. Very few. There's 340 million people in the United States of America. That's if there was 1 million, which I don't even know if there's going to be that many. I'm just telling you. Okay, not very many people. There were only 8 that got on board Noah's Ark, and there's most of his family, right? That was his fam got on board the ark. That was his fam got on board the ark. It was Noah preaching the message. That was the 144,000, and 7 came with him. 7 is a perfect number. 7 came with him. His wife, his sons, their wives. 7. No coincidence. Noah and his 7. That's what you're gonna get here. Change, nothing new under the sun, man. Nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Praise the Most High Yah. Let us continue. Deuteronomy chapter 18. So when the Lawayim were to show up anywhere in the land, when they got in the land, when the Yahweh were to show up anywhere, when they came to Jerusalem or when they came to Shiloh, wherever they came, they were to be taken care of and fed, because they represent the tribe that didn't have an inheritance, the tribe that was supposed to live off the tithes and offering, the tribe that was supposed to receive of the Spirit of the Most High Yah. A blessing was on them like that. Okay? All right, now he's going to move on to another subject. Deuteronomy chapter 18. Deuteronomy chapter 18. Let's start at verse 9 and stop there for a minute. Okay? Deuteronomy 18 and verse 9. We got to look at these things a little, very carefully. Praise the Most High. I see, brothers and sisters, these words, it's called These Be the Words. That's what we're reading. These be the words, man. It's no joke. These be the words. So let's take a look at these words very carefully. When thou art come into the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee, learn, watch this now, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. Wait a minute. Let's stop right here, because we got some history to talk about with us. Yes, we do. What happened? The children of Israel were Jacob's sons, right? Jacob, Yaakov, his name was changed to Israel, right? His name was changed to Israel, which means Yasha'al, which means right with Allah, right with the Most High. That's what it means. He said, you used to be called Jacob, which means supplanter, but you right with me now. You ain't got to worry now. You right with me. That's what he wanted to know. I will not let you go unless you bless me. Now I need to know that I'm right with you. You're right with me. You're good. Me and you, cuz, we good. And that's all he needed to know. That's all he needed to know. That's all. Isn't that all me and you need to know? That we right with the Most High is all we need to know, right? Yasha'ah. So the children of right with the Most High came down into Egypt, right? They came down into Egypt. And they were there, right? Some think they were there less. I'm not going to argue with them. Some think they were there less because they're going into the 400-year prophecy for us here in the United States. And that's cool. I'm not, there is a parallel, but that's another story. And they were there for a long time. Let's put it that way. And over the course of time, they had been there so long, they forgot who they were. Listen to me carefully. Who they were. To the point that they started thinking they were actually Egyptians. Because they were living in Egyptians' land, they started acting like they were Egyptians. Now, the Most High used the Egyptians to show them otherwise. What do you mean? He caused the Egyptians to bring hard bondage on them, to let them know, no, you're not one of us. Listen carefully. And they had started thinking they were Egyptians, so that they started actually eating and drinking and dressing and living like Egyptians. But they were not Egyptians. Now, they forgot that, but the Most High did not forget. Why? Because of his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let me show you. Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. Watch closely now. Ezekiel chapter 20. I'm going to read from verse 5. From verse 5 of Ezekiel chapter 20. From verse 5. And I'm going to go down from verse 5 down to verse 12. Notice what it says. And say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, in the day when I chose Yasha'ah, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Yaakov, himself known unto them in the land of Egypt. He made himself known while they were in the land. When I lifted up mine hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, in the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, watch this, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh your Elohim. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I have made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness, and I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover, also I gave them my Shabbats, between me and them. They might know that I am Yahweh, that does sanctify or set them apart. See, they were in Egypt, started worshiping like Egyptians, started living like Egyptians, started eating like Egyptians. And then they were reminded, you're not Egyptians. We're going to make you slaves. You're not Egyptians. But they wouldn't give up them Egyptian idols. So now, before they even got to that point, back in Deuteronomy, he tells them, when you go into the land, don't learn to do after the abominations of those nations that you're going to be dispelling from the land. What does that have to do? I think we can see, but I just need to spell it out. Some of us ignorant, well, all of us ignorant, but some of us haven't got to that point yet, so let me spell this out. In the United States of America, the Israelites were taken captive and brought here in chains, and we've been here almost 400 years. And who took us? Well, we know it was the sons of Japhet that brought us over here, the Anglo-Saxon and the Caucasian man. And he beat us over the head with Christianity and white Jesus. And he started, breaking us down to be used in service in his economy. And we have gotten to the point where we have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten why. See, we know we were brought here in chains, and we can point at the Caucasian and say, you brought us here in chains, and we can definitely, point our finger at him and say you did it, but we never think about the next question. God in heaven, why did he allow us to be taken in such a manner? Why did he allow our women to be raped? Why did he allow our men to be hung with their private parts cut out? Why did he do that? Why does he still allow us to fill the prisons and to be subjected to central predators and to be snatched off streets and to be killed and put in ghettos? Why does he allow that? Well, there is a God in heaven. And he allowed it, and he allows it because of the sins of our fathers. And we have started to think we're American. Yeah. We belong here. No, we don't. We forgot who we were. We weren't brought here. You see, this is the thing, brothers and sisters. Let me explain this to you. There is no, in the history of earth, I'm not talking about anybody. You could take Shem, Ham, or Japhet. In the history of earth, in the history of planet Earth, okay, listen to me carefully. No people has been taken in captivity by another people in order for the captives to become equal with the captors. Are you listening? Listen carefully now. No people in the history of planet Earth has ever been taken captive by a people where the captor desires that the captives be their equal. Really? I mean, seriously, right? I mean, is that just common sense? So if you were brought here, if your ancestors were brought here in a slave ship, they were not brought here so that they can have equal rights with those that brought them on the slave ships. Do you understand? And the reason is very simple. I mean, it's very simple. It's not complicated. If you are the person that took captives, right? If you took captives, okay, and like I said, you can use Shem, Ham, or Japhet because all the nations have done it, right? Not to the degree that they're doing it to us now, but I'm just saying all nations have actually had some form or another of slavery. So when you take slaves, you never make them equal with you. Why? Because you're always in the back of your mind, you're like, against me and come at me the way I did to their fathers? Are they going to come back and kill me? because they know what I did. Is that gonna come back on me? Because you know they got this thing modern days, they call it karma, right? And they're like, you know, is that gonna come back on me? Is it gonna come back? And they're gonna come and kill me because what my fathers did to them? That, now you know why you will never be equal, ever. They have to keep you in subjection, man, because they're afraid of what might happen. Okay? And any people would think the same way. It's not just because they're Caucasian or Anglo-Saxon. Anybody would think like that. So don't think if your family came here in slave ships and you were brought up on plantations and in sharecropping like my family was. Don't think that you're ever going to be equal with the people that put you in that situation. It's not the case. Because they're afraid. That's why they're killing us. That's why they're trying to they're trying to annihilate every black male that they can. That's part of the deal. Put that in your mind and remember it. They don't want to save and preserve you, except only as far as they can profit off you, but they want to annihilate you. They want to kill you. They're afraid of you. Especially since they know you angry, and you got a right to be angry. That's why, you know, when they put old homosexual loving Obama in the White House, if you notice Obama in the whole 8 years, you never saw Obama get angry at anybody. Think he's a man that never gets angry? No, because he understands the whole stereotypical angry black man, right? And the Caucasian man is very afraid when there's an angry black man. So he could never show anger, and he never did, and not in public. They say in private he went off, but not in public. He never publicly showed anger. He would cry, but he was always cool, calm, and collected. He was the coolest, calmest, collected president you have ever seen. And I'm not saying that because he was black. I'm just telling you, he had to be, because if he wasn't, his homosexual loving behind would have never got inside the White House. He had to be cool, calm, and collected. No question. Because the Caucasian and Anglo-Saxon man is scared when they see an angry black man, because they know what their fathers have done. They know what their fathers have done. Okay? Nothing has changed. Exactly. It's the same as the Egyptians. Nothing has changed. So, that all being said, when you recognize who you are as a Hebrew Israelite, when you, and even if you are of the tribes of Yafet, and as the Bible says, you come into this truth and you recognize what your fathers did, and you repent of your sins and the sins of your fathers, as the Bible says you should, just like we should, and you come into this truth, you are no longer, the first thing you are is not an American citizen or a Canadian citizen or a Jamaican citizen or Haitians. That's not the first thing you are, no matter what your history is. The first thing you are is a citizen of the nation of Israel. That's the first thing you are. And the Bible says Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sojourned as strangers and pilgrims on the earth. They didn't call any place on this earth their home, because they knew what their real home was. First, it was the land of Canaan, and it was the heavenly kingdom, which is also going to be on the land of Canaan. You understand? So yeah, but people think of this as cliche. It's not cliche. It's the truth, man. So especially if you are the so-called African American, you don't start getting deceived, and that's what happens. You start, and this is what they do. Let me break this down a little further for y'all, just a little further, okay? Let me ask you a question. What industry, when do you see black males and black females, but I'm focusing on the black male because that's the one they scared of the most. That's why they cut out his privates when they hung him from the tree. They scared of him. What industry do you see the most wealthiest black males? When you see a black male and he is wealthy, where do you see, what industry do you see? It's in entertainment. That's right. Sports, music, television, movies. Right? Is that correct or not? So wait. So the most successful black males that you see, they're either actors, they're musicians, right? Some sort of musician, whether they play a music, they sing or they dance, or they some sort of athlete, right? You don't see a whole lot of they're out there, but I'm saying you don't see a whole lot of successful black males that are business people or doctors or lawyers, even though there's a lot of lawyers that are black. But I'm saying the heavy money people, you don't see a lot of them. You see a entertain. Why is that? Well, because who has the most money to spend on entertainment? Now, this is beyond. Who has the most money to spend on entertainment? The Yawadim. Who else? Caucasians, right? I mean, I would say Caucasians have more money to spend on entertainment. Caucasians in general, and the and the Ashkenazis. That's right, Ashkenazis. So really, when Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Willie Mays or whoever you might name is entertaining, who they entertain? They're entertaining young Cohen, young Rothstein. They watching Dodgers or wherever, you know what I'm saying? They spend the money on them jerseys, and the Caucasians spend the money. So what you doing? You singing, you dancing your way to wealth, right? You singing, you dancing for the entertainment of the masses, of the people that have the money. That's what you're doing. You're singing, you're dancing, you're playing a game. And so, you be coming up poor. Most of these brothers that make this money in these industries, they come up poor. And so they just want to eat. So hey, if I gotta sing or dance to eat, if I gotta dunk a ball to eat, if I gotta show you I can run fast to eat, well, I'm gonna do that. But it's all a game to use and exploit you. So now you are an athlete. And there may be maybe 5 or 6, just take basketball. There are 500 or 600 professional basketball players that make the level of money that we're talking about. Okay. The average NBA salary, I think, is somewhere around 5 million right now. So even a scrub can make 5 million in professional basketball if you're good. Okay, so I mean, if you're good enough to play professional basketball, you might be, you may not be the top level, but you can get 5-10 million. Okay, it's a lot of money, even for Federal Reserve notes. So the kids watching this, they don't see, you being a businessman or, a doctor or lawyer, or they don't see you being a computer engineer or chemical engineer, mechanical, biomedical engineer. They don't see you being a mathematician or a physical therapist. They don't see you doing that, not making that kind of money. So they're trying to do what you do. So they put all their marbles into the entertainment basket. They out here putting all the talents that Yah has given them to try to rap and to try to sing and to try to act, and they're getting crunched up in that whole industry that belongs to the devil. See, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. So we're thinking we want to be in the American system. We want to have a slice of this pie, but this pie was not created for you. It was not. I have 3 degrees. I have a degree in finance. I have a degree, a college degree in finance. I have a college degree in applied mathematics. I have another degree, a master's degree in information system. I got 3 degrees, and yet I work in a place, and I'm glad for the job now. I'm glad for the job, but people and I'm 56 years old, and people in their 20s are telling me what to do. Several of them. Why? Because I'm a black male. And I understand that. It used to frustrate me. But then when I got the truth, I started to understand I'm not here to prosper in this system. I'm here to prosper in this system. I'm here to prepare for the kingdom to come. And to prepare my people for the kingdom to come. Okay? But we don't understand that because we want to all be American idols. We want to be stars on YouTube and stars on Facebook. We want 1 million subscribers. We want 1 million hits. That's what we try to be. And it's Egyptian, man. It's Babylonian. We need to back up off of that. What you see when you see $1. Look at it. You see a pyramid with an eye on it, man. Come on now. What? You supposed to get rich in the kingdom of Yah with them, with that stuff? Come on now. Wake up. Wake up. That thing says Federal Reserve notes, man. It's a whole con, man. It's a whole con. And people buying into it. Why? Well, because we've been hungry a long time. We've been hungry a long time. We've struggled for many centuries. We know that. And so they put that out in front of us like it's an oasis, but it's not. It's a mirage. The way we get satisfaction is with the Spirit of the Most High. The Spirit of the Most High is able to satisfy every human desire. And you're not going to find it in the so-called black church. Con. That's another con. Check it out. Check it out. You're African American, right? So-called African American. You might be black as the ace of spades, or you might be albino, right? You walk into a Christian church, and you're going to find on the wall a picture of a man representing Jesus. What does he usually look like? What does this Jesus that you walk into a black church, now they in there waving, they in there clapping. What does this Jesus look like when you walk in there? What does he look like? Does he look like you? Does he look like the descendant of people that came on slave ships? No. He looks Caucasian. He looks European. Does it matter? People say, well, it doesn't matter. His color doesn't matter. The people that say that, Russia. Okay? Does matter. You walk into a place of worship every week that your ancestors for hundreds of years have gone in, whether it be the African Methodist Episcopal Church or whether it be the Baptist Church, and you see a Caucasian person that you're supposed to worship. You don't tell me that doesn't affect you? Doesn't affect who you are? Really doesn't affect how you think? It's not brainwashing you? If you're denying that, you're lying to yourself. You really are. You're lying to yourself. You really are. It affects you. It's the second commandment. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, on the earth beneath, on the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. There should be no image of Messiah on anybody's wall. But they put one up there, they put a European one, because they want you to think of him in that way. When you break away from Christianity and you break away from this whole church system that they have, you just break away from it. You see, brothers and sisters, a lot of times you've been in this situation, right, where you can't really see what's happening until you step away and look at it from the outside. You ever been in a situation like that? You can't really see what's happening around you when you're in the midst until you get out from the middle of it and you step out for a minute and you look at it from the outside. You look at it from the outside and you see it completely different. And you say, wow, man, I didn't even see that. See, when you're in the midst of these false religions, you really can't see what's happening. You know something is happening, almost like, you know, the frog, the proverbial frog that's getting boiled. He's getting boiled in some water in a pot. The water starts off cool and it's starting to get warmer and warmer. Maybe even starts to feel comfortable until it starts getting hot, and then it's too late. He's dead, right? Because he didn't even know it was a death chamber. That's what happens. You're in the middle of it, and you hearing stuff, and you know something just doesn't feel right. It's the water's getting a little too warm. I don't understand. It doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's too late. Can't get out when you're getting cooked. But again, praise the Most High for the 144,000, because they will bring forth the message of truth. They will bring forth with the message of, with a power that had not been seen since the apostles walked the earth. With a power that has not been seen since the apostles walked the earth. You know, when the apostles walked the earth, when Shimon Kafar was walking the road and he was filled with the Spirit, you know, his shadow would heal people, man. They would bring something that the apostle Shaul had worn, and they would put it on somebody, and devils would flee. We'll come back to that. Oh, yes. It's coming back to that with the 144,000, and even more so because this is it, man. This is, like I said, we the generation that's going to see Messiah return. We the generation that's actually with our own eyes are going to see it. The things that prophets have been talking about for millennium, we're going to see it. Prophets wish they were here. See, we're in the last days, and the prophets of old, Abraham, Isaac, they wish they were here. They wish they could see what you and I are getting ready to experience, man. Yeah, it's going to be rough. Never was since there was a nation is coming. There's no question about that. But brothers and sisters, at the end of it, it's going to be a blessing that nobody on earth's history has ever experienced the way we're going to see it, man. Yeah. So no, don't think you belong to these heathen. You belong to another nation. Don't act according to their culture and their ways. You say, well, what culture are we going to listen? As you study the word of the Most High, as a Hebrew Israelite, when you're looking at the Bible, you don't look at it as the way the Christians look at it. You're not looking for white Jesus in here. You're not just studying the New Testament, and nor are you just studying the Torah. You're studying the whole thing as a Hebrew. You're understanding your history from the time your father and my father, Adam. See, Adam, I tell people, people don't want to hear this. I tell you the truth. Adam is the father of the whole human race. Adam was a black man. That means whoever you are, I don't care where you come from a black man. You got to claim whiteness. You got to claim that. Because your heritage, you come from Adam. Adam was a black man. Everybody's black. They just don't want to know that because they don't want to understand they come from the man Adam that was made from the clay of the earth. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But from that time, that's our history. This Bible is teaching us our history all the way to the return of Messiah and the installation of his kingdom. It's teaching us our history and our future. And when you look at it like that, you see it a whole different ball game. And you get blessed, and it shows you everything that's happening right now. It shows you every single thing. It doesn't leave anything out. It shows you everything. It really does. We've seen it. It shows you everything in here. Okay? Yeah. So, brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in this culture. Look and see in the scriptures what our culture is supposed to be. Don't get caught up in it. And, it takes a lot. My wife and I were talking about it this morning. We're talking about in terms of marriage. There's a lot to learn and there's a lot to unlearn. There's a lot to learn, a lot to unlearn. But it starts with us trusting the Most High Yah and his word alone. That's how it starts. In the name of the Anointed One, Mashiach Yahushua. It starts with that. Okay? It starts with that. Then from there, you just eat it up. You just eat up this word. You eat up. The Messiah will be sending you his spirit, the spirit of the Father. And you start eating up this word. And he starts showing you stuff, man. And your eyes start to open. And you're not deceived anymore. And slowly you're learning and you're unlearning things. You're unlearning things. And you're learning and unlearning. Like we was talking about marriage. We talked about marriage and we studied marriage in the Bible. It's not like the way they do it today. It's not like the Christian church. The Bible marriage is different from the Christian church marriage. But we're not taught that because you just assume that the Christian church marriage is the way marriage is supposed to be. But no, when you study the Bible, you see it a lot differently. It's a different thing. That's one area of society. Everything is different in the culture of the Bible. Everything than what you're being taught and what I was being taught. But we have to study to show ourselves approved. We have to study to learn and to unlearn. Learn and unlearn. I remember the day when I declared I was not a Christian anymore. People were shocked. They were shocked. And what do you mean you're not a Christian? People still shocked when I say it. I'm not a Christian. People assume I am many times as no, I'm not a Christian. What? You're not a Christian? No, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a follower of the baby white Jesus. No, I'm not. I'm not a follower. I'm a follower of a Hebrew man from the tribe of Judah, Messiah of the nation of Yashra'ah. Yeah, that's why I'm his disciple. Praise the Most High Yah. We'll stop here at verse 9 today, and we'll continue next week in chapter 18 of the book of Deuteronomy. There's a lot more here to study. There's a lot more. We're going to stop here right now and take a break. Let us have a word of prayer.